once again. Good evening, folks. Welcome to Friday Night Tech Talk. I'm Mobile Geezer, which you're aware of if you're watching on YouTube, but you also might be watching on one of my Facebook IDs with the Mobile Geezer or George Hayes. We simulcast to all three at the same time every week. And as I say every week, we do this every week. And I go over some tech articles. And here's Elna, first one in, yes. So she's wishing everybody a fabulous weekend, which is great. Always glad to have her here, and always good to see when she's first. Cool. So, and right behind her, there's Brian, two of the most faithful right off the bat. That's awesome. Hey, Brian, glad you're here too. Okay. As I said, if you're new here, please type something in the comments, as Eleanor and Brian just did. We can discuss things in there. And here's Ellie. Okay, all the faith. So we got Eleanor, Brian, and Ellie. Great to have all three of you here, as usual. And like I said, if you're new, just type something in. And in the comments is where we have any discussion we're going to have. I always pick a few articles and try to come up with articles that are interesting to tech heads like us in every place. And I think I'm pretty successful at that. And of course, every week, if there's a big event, I try to highlight that. I don't think there was a big event this week, but there was a couple of cool things. So as I do every week, I'm going to show you the show notes on my website. But first, if you follow this this QR code, it'll take you right to my website, and it'll take you just to tonight. So, and here's Will. Will, you're here.
What's going on, George?
Are you working, or are you?
No, I'm actually off today.
You're actually off work. That's a miracle in itself, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, glad you're here, brother, as always. So I'm just welcoming who's here. I thought I turned off my sound on my watch. Okay. So how's everything with you?
It's going, George. You know,
Okay.
can't complain.
Good. Okay, so just for people who are new here, as I do every week, I will show you my website where I had the show notes every week. So we'll just go share screen here. And if you go to mobilegeezer.wordpress.com, you just click on today's date, you will get the show notes just for tonight's show. And as I do every week, I'll give you a little preview. Now, the first thing I found yesterday, I didn't know this until yesterday, the Commodore 64 is back. And I don't know how many of you are old enough to remember the Commodore 64. Oh, here's Renz. Renz, so glad you're here, brother. We're getting all the faithful in here, too. And you got in here on a week that Will's in here, so we're really doing well already. So, Commodore 64. Now, back in '84, that was my third year as a programmer or developer, and I had my TI, was the TI 99.
Maybe.
And
Maybe he ate it. He ate it.
Okay, Will's talking in the background. Okay, but
My bad, George.
that's no problem. But my second job in programs, the company that made at the time Wonder Bread up in Connecticut, and actually I worked in the same town that Candace Owens is from, but she wasn't even born yet, I don't think. In any case, on that job, there was a group of about maybe 100 people that all had Commodore 64. So I went out and got one. And of course, we exchanged all kinds of programs and all kinds of stuff. So that was pretty cool. Let's see. Eleanor saying, how's my buddy Will doing? It's been such a long time. I pray everything is well with you and the family. And
Yeah,
Ellie said,
I'm there.
good. You know, my earphones are not working. I had them working. Give me a second, folks. Let's see if I can get these earphones working again. I hope you guys aren't hearing things coming through the speakers. Okay, now it says my earphones are connected. So if I just go here, got headphones, and there's my headphones for my earbuds. Okay, hopefully that fixed it. See, Ellen said she had the Commodore 64, loved that device, simple, easy to use. That's true. And Renz says, oh, doing good, buddy. Other than a cough and cold, flu season here. Yeah, one of the guys I work with had to go home yesterday because he got a cold, but he was glad it wasn't COVID, of course, which it wasn't. So it's very hard to give me a cold. I have resistance to just about anything. So I can usually sit in a group of about 10 people who are all sick around me and never get sick. So I do pretty good with that. Okay, so Commodore 64. This is just looking like the original 64, and they did that on purpose. You'll see that in the article. But I just thought it was the coolest thing to start with. But after that, we're going to go on what was the big thing for last week. I guess it was officially last Friday, but Netflix is trying to buy Warner Brothers, and Paramount is trying to do a hostile takeover. So they've been in a bidding war, I guess, for a few months. So that's kind of the big story of the week. And we'll check that out on CNBC. Then I said Verizon saying the standard T-Mobile already following. We, as customers, are not going to like it. So it's a story on Phone Arena. And then Moto about to unveil a full-size Fold at CES. Android Central thinks so based on their invitation, so we'll take a look. Because, of course, you know, the Flip is Moto's big thing, but they haven't never come up with a full-size Fold, so that could be pretty exciting. Okay. Then I've got a story about Instagram Reels giving partial control of the algorithm to all of us users. I haven't tried it yet, but pretty exciting stuff. At least it might be pretty exciting stuff. And then my final story, which I always said it was a bad idea for the feds to try to override the state's rules on AI. Well, the president has signed an executive order doing just that. So the states won't be able to have their own laws ruling AI if it disagrees with what the feds want to do. So I disagree with that, but I'll let you guys see the article, and that'll be on Tech Radar. So back to the top. I did check to see if Ted had sent anything. He hasn't sent anything. Will, you want to do a Commodore story, or should I? Will, are you still there? I think we might have lost Will for a minute, so I guess I'll go on to the Commodore story. Now, this one's on Tech Radar, so let's go take a look. I got excited, of course, when I saw it, but it's very much like the original Commodore, so as you'll tell from the article, probably not a smart thing to buy, but you'll see what I mean. The Commodore 64 is back on the production line for the first time in 30 years, and I want it, even if it makes 0 cents. And I had the same thought, but I'm not going to be buying it, I don't think. It's by Lance Ulanoff. I'm always surprised that he's that old. I wouldn't have thought he was that old, but he is. Still not your granddad's Commodore. So let's put it in reader view, get rid of these ads. Now, what you'll see here, they have 3 different versions of it. They have the base one, another color, and another color, and each one is more expensive. If you go to Commodore 64, Commodore.net, you'll see them there. The base one is the cheapest one. I think it's $300, but we'll take a look. All right, so this was written on the 28th of November. The Commodore 64 is officially back. Just months after signing paperwork to acquire the original brand and assets, Commodore 64 Ultimates are slowly rolling off the assembly line, and some units may arrive in customers' hands before the holidays. So maybe he'll get one before Christmas comes along. This news comes direct from Commodore CEO Perry Fractic, a.k.a. Christian Simpson, so I guess that's his real name, who posted a video from the assembly floor. Okay. Old and new. The new Commodore 64 Ultimate Basic Beige looks like a near-perfect replica of the original system, sure does. But in a note on the Commodore.net website, Tremel writes, "This is no replica, this is no emulation, this is Commodore." So that's why I'm saying this is probably running too much of the old stuff, but you'll see as we go along. Unlike, say, some of the Atari flashback game consoles that featured a classic body but largely replaced components, the Commodore 64 Ultimate includes a faithful recreation of the original motherboard. So you're probably going to be back in the 80s if you get this thing. That may be so, but along with original ports, the new Commodore 64 includes options that didn't exist in 1982, including HDMI and USB 3. There's also a new Ethernet port, which all of that makes sense. The computer even includes Wi-Fi, which you didn't have back then either. Commodore also promises modern printer control, a faster system thanks to more memory and more sound processors. In other words, they've made quite a few affordances for our modern technology times. The focus, though, is on nostalgia, with the company emphasizing that the system will support 10,000 plus, that's a lot, original games, along with dusty old cartridges, CRT, so if you have cartridges, it'll work, CRT TVs, data sets, or disk drives. Ellie said, "Oh, this is so cool, good memories of that device." Yeah, if you pick it up, you can pick it up for both of us and tell us all what it's like. Anyway, if you go to Commodore.net, you'll see it right away. There's a part of me that embraces this warm, fuzzy tech nostalgia like a cherished stuffed animal from my childhood. One look at the Commodore 64 Ultimate in beige, and I'm instantly transported to a simpler time where I could work on and print out on a dot matrix printer, yep, that's what we did, a school paper that I deliver at my leisure when I saw my professor. No emails back then. Now, she says you're on, so maybe she'll get one and let us know all about it. That would be cool. Okay. That feeling, though, is fleeting, and I'm left with the uncomfortable realization that there's no place for this computer in the modern world, and here's reality setting in. It will arrive in the hands of hundreds, if not thousands, of enthusiasts who will unbox it and then try out some of the old software, that's true. However, eventually, if not soon after, the Commodore 64 Ultimate will end up gathering dust on a display shelf, and that's what I was worried about. If I got it, that's what would happen in a few weeks. Pushed aside for a more powerful, modern, and usable computer. Facing classic reality. I hate to think this way because I love classic tech and have a hard time discarding anything. Sometimes I wish I still had my old Commodore 64 or Commodore 128 we bought after it, but I know that feeling will soon pass. I have a collection of old handheld electronic games from the 80s that I take out every once in a while to examine them and see if they still work. So he's a bit of a tech hoarder, I guess. This usually lasts 5 or 10 minutes, then they're back on the shelf or in a box. I fear this is the reality of this passion project. So, yes, the latent teenager in me is excited that the Commodore 64 is rising from the ashes and wants one. But my realist adult self wonders aloud, and then what? Yeah, and that's true. That's when the reality sets in. You can buy it for nostalgia, but you're probably not going to use it much. But if we're all very blessed, Ellie will buy it and let us know all about it. We'll see. So I just thought that was a cool way to start with the first story. And I just looked, and Will is not with us anymore. So I think he was talking to somebody in his family. So maybe we've had all the Will we're going to get tonight. I hope not. So anyway, that was a cool way to start. Ellie says, there's a spot reserved in my office for this device. That is so cool. There are some days that it will transport me back to the 80s. Oh, we'll all be looking forward to that. Trust me. All right. I'll let you guys know if Will comes back. Let me get a sip of my green tea. Oh, and as I often forget to do, let me stop this just for a moment. To let you guys know which ones I took to work today. Today was my iPhone 17. So when I remember, I try to show you guys what phones I used for the day. Okay, back to our stories. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, next story, which is kind of the big deal of the week. Netflix Paramount bidding war for Warner Brothers Discovery. Found this on CNBC.com. Of course, everybody had this story. But the original story was Netflix buying it, but since then, Paramount is trying a hostile bid. So, we will see what happens. Paramount Skydance launches hostile bid for Warner Brothers Discovery to finish what we started. CEO Ellison tells CNBC. Now, keep in mind, he owns Paramount now. He's about to own the American version of TikTok, so he controls a lot of stuff. Okay, continue. So this was published on December 8th, so 4 days ago, and it was written by David Faber and Alex Sherman. So let's drop into read review and get rid of the ads. Okay, Brian says retro tech is so cool. Okay. Paramount Skydance is launching a hostile bid to buy Warner Brothers Discovery after it lost out to Netflix in a months-long bidding war for the legacy assets, the company said Monday. Paramount will go straight to Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders with an all-cash $30 per share offer, which is bigger than the offer that Netflix and Warner Brothers agreed to. That same bid Warner Bros. Discovery rejected last week and equates to an enterprise value of $108.4 billion, which again is more than Netflix would have to pay. The offer is backstopped with equity financing from the Ellison family and the private equity from Redbird Capital, as well as $54 billion in debt commitments from Bank of America, Citi, and Apollo Global Management, Paramount said in a news release. Now, keep in mind, Ellison is generally considered the second richest man in the world, I guess, right after Elon. A portion of the equity financing comes from outside Middle Eastern financing partners, including Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, Abu Dhabi's Limad Holding Company, PJSC, and the Qatar Investment. The president's been, going out of his way to make deals with Saudi Arabia and, of Of course, Qatar is one of our closest trading partners these days. So, pardon me. Another portion derives from Jared Kushner's affinity partners. Kushner is U.S. President Donald Trump's son-in-law. I think we all knew that. Those partners have agreed to forego any governance rights, including board seats, as part of their non-voting equity investment, according to a Paramount filing. Interesting. The modifications allow the deal to be outside of the jurisdiction of the Committee on Foreign Investment, interesting again, in the U.S. or CFIUS. So they really, they'll be really making exceptions for them if Paramount wins this bidding war. Shares of Paramount gained 9% Monday. Warner Bros. Discovery shares rose about 4%, was down 3%, but we don't know who's going to win this yet. We're really here to finish what we started. Paramount Skydance CEO David Ellison told CNBC's Squawk on the Street on Monday. We put the company in play. Paramount Skydance began its hunt for Warner Bros. Discovery in September, submitting 3 bids before WBD launched a formal sale process that ultimately brought in other suitors. So I guess Paramount was ahead of Netflix trying to get this done, but somebody at Warner Bros. Doesn't want Paramount taken over. On Friday, Netflix announced a deal to acquire Warner Bros. Discovery Studio and streaming assets for a combination of cash and stock valued at $27.75 per. That's cheaper than the Paramount bid, or $72 billion. So again, cheaper than what Paramount is offering. Paramount had been bidding for the entirety of Warner Bros. Discovery, including those assets and the company's TV networks like CNN and TNT Sports. We're sitting on Wall Street where cash is still king. We are offering shareholders $17.6 billion more cash than the deal they currently have signed up with Netflix. Yep. And we believe when they see what is currently in our offer, that's, I think it meant to say then, that's what they'll vote for, Ellison said. Ellison said Monday he places a value of $1 per share on the linear cable assets, which are set to trade as a separate public entity called Discovery Global in mid-2026. I guess he's going to be going after that too. WBD executive had privately valued the assets closer to $3 per share, so they'll have to work that deal out. Paramount has repeatedly argued to the WBD Board of Directors that keeping Warner Bros. Discovery whole is in the best interest of its shareholders. Paramount made a bid on December 1st and heard back from WBD that it needed to make certain alterations to the offer, Ellison said Monday. So I don't think he's telling us what those alterations are. When Paramount made the changes and upped its bid to $30 per share, Ellison never heard back from WBD CEO David Zaslav, he said. Ellison said he told Zaslav via text message that $30 per share wasn't the company's best and final offer, so this could still go higher, suggesting the company is willing to bid higher still. Ellison argued Paramount's deal will have a shorter regulatory approval process, given the company's smaller size and friendly relationship with the Trump administration. Yes, he does have a very friendly relationship with Trump. He called Trump a believer in competition and said Paramount's combination with WBD will be a real competitor to Netflix, a real competitor to Amazon. And I did see a video the other day, I didn't get a chance to watch it, that the president was already starting to say the government should probably not approve the Netflix offer. So Ellison may win this yet. Ellison also threw cold water on Netflix's chance of regulatory approval. Yeah, and the president will be able to have something to say about that. Allowing the number 1 streaming service to combine with the number 3 streaming service is anti-competitive, Ellison said. Yeah, that's a point. CNBC reported Friday that the Trump administration was viewing the deal, with heavy skepticism. And Trump said Sunday that the market share considerations could pose a problem. So it sounds like Trump is going to make sure this deal doesn't go through for Netflix. Netflix agreed to pay Warner Bros. Discovery $5.8 billion if the deal is not approved, so they still got to pay something, according to a Securities and Exchange Commission filing Friday. So it seems like everything is stacking up against Netflix, as near as I can tell. Warner Bros. Discovery said it would pay a $2.8 billion breakup fee if it decides to call off the deal to pursue a different merger. Netflix, for its part, once again championed the deal as positive for shareholders, consumers, and the media industry as a whole when its top leadership spoke at the UBS Global Media and Communications Conference on Monday. Co-CEO Greg Peters said they recognized the Netflix deal came as a shock, but called the Warner Brothers Studio and HBO Max content complementary to Netflix's business here, that's for sure. Co-CEO Ted Sarandos said the acquisition would protect jobs at a time when layoffs have been rampant across media. That's true. In the offer that Paramount was talking about today, they also were talking about a $6 billion of synergies. Where do you think synergies come from? Cutting jobs. So we're not cutting jobs, we're making jobs. That's still up in the air, but it sounds like Paramount and Ellison has the president on his side. So we'll see where that goes. Very interesting. And if Will comes back in, I'll certainly let you guys know, but right now it's just us. So we will continue on. And this one I just thought was interesting, and this will probably end up affecting all of us, at least with the major carriers. Verizon setting the standard, T-Mobile already following, and you'll see what I mean. I have T-Mobile. We're not going to like it, I don't think. So got this on phone arena. Let's go take a look. They're verifying that I'm human. Okay, I guess I'm human. So Verizon is setting a dangerous example for T-Mobile and AT&T, and they're sure to follow. Verizon has opened Pandora's box, and T-Mobile and AT&T are sure to follow in its footsteps. This is by Abdul Asim, who writes a lot of their articles. And this was from December 8th. So to read a few we go. According to a new report received by us, Verizon's recent layoffs of 13,000 employees wasn't a spur-of-the-moment thing. The company had been preparing for it in the worst way possible. Get this, making its employees train their AI replacements before being let go. That's pretty cold. Verizon's new CEO, Dan Schulman, apparently wants to shake things up. I guess he did. And the first step was laying off over 12,000 employees. And the example that Verizon is setting for T-Mobile and AT&T is scary for both consumers and representatives alike. No more human element, and they're all trying to eliminate them. T-Mobile's trying hard. You'll see why. To cut costs, Verizon allegedly wants to transition over to AI-powered customer support in many areas. In other words, you won't get to talk to a human at all. The company allegedly made its employees train AI models to take their jobs. This means that customers will be forced to interact with AI customer service, which will possibly lead to an overall worse experience, you think? That's not even mentioning the thousands of employees who have lost their jobs. Verizon, in its quest for turning things around, is headed into a fully digital future. And that is terrifying because it means that the job market is about to see a lot more desperate people. Yeah, Brian says, Ellie said, yeah, this is disgusting. I'm glad I brought this to you guys because obviously everybody didn't know about it. And Brian says, companies don't care. Yeah, and you're going to see where T-Mobile is well on its way, and I've already known this as a T-Mobile customer. T-Mobile is doing the same. They're pushing us to T-Life, and they want no human customer interaction at all also, and you'll see that coming. And we have been seeing that coming at T-Mobile. Customers and employees both dislike the T-Life app. That's true. You see, there's a lot of complaints online from employees of T-Mobile and, of course, from customers. Though news of mass layoffs hasn't come out of T-Mobile just yet, I think that it's only a matter of time. I agree. A short while back, multiple T-Mobile employees contacted us and claimed that the T-Life app was designed to replace them. Yeah, those of us who T-Mobile users have been seeing this coming for many months. T-Mobile apparently has a plan to ship everything to the app by 2027. 100% adoption across all operations, no questions asked. And that's the plan, to get rid of all the employees, and you'll be forced to have the app, and they'll shut down a lot of stores, of course, because they won't need them. Once that happens, the company will be free to start making its career opportunities a lot less lucrative, hoping that its employees will start looking elsewhere. If that doesn't drive them away, there's nothing stopping the Un-carrier from simply laying them off like Verizon. These are all serious allegations made against T-Mobile by its employees, many of them, and I fear that they're going to turn out to be completely true. I would agree. You don't get a choice. Customers cannot choose what they like. Customers and employees alike are at the mercy of these radical changes, and Verizon just opened Pandora's box. Now that one company has laid the groundwork, T-Mobile and AT&T can follow in its footsteps without attracting as much negative attention. And I said I've known this was coming from T-Mobile. I've heard nothing about AT&T, but I guess they're going to want to do the same thing. I fear that both of them are going to lay off thousands in the near future and make their own moves to digitize their operations. T-Mobile has the T-Life app, Verizon has its AI customer service, and we would be foolish to not expect something similar from AT&T soon. But is this the right call? Well, none of us customers think so, as far as I know. There's just one problem with Verizon's approach. Most customers don't want this. The employees are obviously not fond of this new tactic, but even the average customer likes to only deal with a human customer support agent. What Verizon is allegedly doing basically tells its user base that it doesn't care what they think, that's right, and that they're just going to have to settle for it. Stop me if I'm being outrageous here, but I don't think that's a good way to conduct business. I agree. They don't seem to care, as Brian said. Yes, Verizon has been struggling as of late. I didn't know that. And yes, the company needs to turn things around as soon as it can, but laying off its experienced workforce, forcing customers to interact with AI-powered customer support, not giving either its employees or its users a choice, seems bold. And unfortunately, there's a very strong chance that T-Mobile and AT&T are about to display similar boldness sooner than anyone would like. So, like I said, we're not going to like it, but I don't think they're going to give us a choice at all. So, glad to let you people know what's coming, and my guess is they're probably getting a lot of blowback from the customers, and like Brian says, they don't care. So, maybe this one will be a little more cheerful. Moto about to unveil a full-size fold at CES. I got this on, I can't spell Central, obviously. Got this on Android Central. Motorola teases new foldable innovation ahead of CES with intriguing lamp invite. This is by Nandika Ravi, published on December 9th. A book-style foldable could be coming soon. Let's drop it into reading view. I guess that's part of what it looked like, but this opens up, obviously, but we don't have a picture for that. And this was sent to Nick Sutrick at Android Central. He'll be at the CES show, obviously, at their booth. Motorola seems to be working on something super exciting, and we think it might be hinting at its next major form factor with its CES invite. Android Central senior editor Nick Sutrick got a package from Motorola earlier this week, and the box had an invite to a CES display, plus a wooden flip book that opens and folds into a lamp with a dim red light. So this opens up and folds into a lamp. That's pretty cool. And Motorola likes to be innovative like that, which you'll see later on. According to Sutric, the lamp features a magnetic clasp that keeps it fully open and folded backward. This package did give us a peek into what Motorola could have in store at CES, a possible new flagship device that could look a lot like a book-style foldable, much like the Galaxy Z Fold 7. And he said, we're getting ready to unfold new perspectives at Lenovo Tech World. Because Moto belongs to Lenovo. Now hear us out. There were several clues within the package that just screamed that this new form factor could be in the works. The most obvious indication is with the invite itself, which states we're getting to unfold a new perspective at Lenovo Tech World. Set to take place on January 6th. The emphasis on unfold caught our attention given that Motorola's current foldable phones are all flip devices. Yeah, that's a pretty good hint, I would say. The mysterious device might also feature a wooden finish, yeah, because that's the kind of cool stuff Motorola has done in the past. Suggested by the wooden cover of the foldable lamp, it also has the Motorola M logo engraved on it with the line, every fold reveals a possibility. And do we see that? Yep, every fold reveals a possibility. Yep. And again, it really does feel like wood. So I guess that's how it opens up. Considering Motorola is the only company that likes to experiment with unique materials such as bamboo, teak, ebony, and walnut wood in its smartphone designs since the Moto X days, 2013-2014, where the company allowed users to fully customize their devices. Yes, they did. I remember that. I didn't do it, but I remember it. And more recently with its Motorola Razr 2025 Mountain Trail Edition. Yeah, I've seen that, which featured thin wood inlay. The lamp's mechanism is such that it unfolds end to end with its pages illuminated in a red hue. So, we're seeing that right there. Okay. However, it remains unclear whether the foldable device will operate just like the lamp, which only time will tell. Until then, we're just letting our imaginations run wild about the kind of device Motorola is brewing for us, a fold with a wooden back, set to be unveiled on January 6, 2026. So we only have a few weeks to wait, but pretty cool story. It sounds like Motorola is doing some pretty cool stuff. I still have my OnePlus Open, and that's the only big foldable I have, but of course, I still think it's one of the best, and so do a lot of other people that have it. So that's kind of an exciting story. Let's see. Annie's in here. Glad to have you here, Annie. She said, I hate to go back to work. Have a great weekend, though. Thanks, Annie, for dropping in. Okay. Ella said, if Moto does that, and if the pricing cameras are decent, I'm in. Yeah, it's bound to be a very cool thing, especially if it comes in with that wood. So, we'll see. Maybe somewhere down the road I might be in, but not right now. All right, moving on. Oh, Will, are you back? Will, are you back?
George.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. There you go. You finally. I was waiting.
I didn't
I
even
had
see.
left, and then I was in the thing, and then I text
So-
you.
I was busy reading. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I know.
You want to take
You
one?
see, hold on. I gotta go get my computer back. Hold on. How many more is left?
2.
All right. Yeah, you do this one, and I'll get the last one.
I'll wait for you because I think this one's going to be more interesting for you. But go ahead.
All right. Yeah, you see, Moto was about to.
Yeah.
What is that? Moto Maker, right?
Now the next story is going to be about
No.
Instagram
I'm
Reels.
talking about the one you just did.
Yeah,
the one you
the
just
motor
did,
story
yeah,
sounds
Moto.
really good. Yeah.
Moto Maker. You don't remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Where they had
That's right. That's how we got on the bamboo stuff.
yeah,
remember
where you
that.
could you could customize your Moto
Exactly.
X. You could put a bamboo back. They had
Yep.
They had what else did they have? They had a whole bunch of stuff. Then you could choose the trim color,
Right.
the accents. I mean, not the trim, the accents. All right, let's see. Hold on.
Okay.
I was like, George isn't gonna come back. All right, what's the next story? Let me see.
The Instagram Reels.
All right, I see it.
You got it. All right. Let me pull it up. So I just said Instagram Reels gives users partial control of the algorithm. Big change? We'll see. So I got it on Tech Radar. All right.
Yeah, I
So
see it, George.
all right. So
All
whenever
right.
you're ready,
All right. Instagram just gave users algorithm control, and this could change the face of social media. All right. Some describe social media algorithms as black boxes, dark spaces that have no substantial control over what you see, but offer virtually zero insight into how they do their magic. Instagram is changing that equation today by opening up just a little bit of the inscrutable programming and letting users with AIs help take the wheel. George, what you got on the speaker? I could hear myself.
oh yeah, I can't get my earphone to work. Sorry about that.
Ah, okay. Instagram announced the new way to control your Instagram experience in a blog post on Wednesday, December 10th, explaining that the change will allow users to both see and control their Reels algorithm. Reels is the longer form video content and most closely resembles TikTok, another social media platform with a powerful and inscrutable algorithm. Don't worry, when you see the new algorithm access icon, two lines with hearts, you won't be looking at code. Instead, using AI in ways it doesn't explain. Instagram shows you what it understands about your interests, what you watch, what you watch most or for the longest, what you like, what you share, and even what you quickly swipe through all shape the Reels algorithm. That detail, your interests, will now appear listed in the summary of topics list at the top. Here's where it gets interesting though. You can now muck about in your algorithm, entering topics you want to see more of, as well as those you'd rather remove from your feed. Instagram promises your reels will reflect your choices. Perhaps even more surprising, Instagram will let you share your algorithm or at least the interest you like in a story post. When I first heard about this, I kind of laughed out loud, since there are more than a few memes about the dangers of, say, your spouse or your partner seeing what your algorithm reveals about you. Reels algorithm access is apparently just the start. Instagram promised to bring the future to explore in more places in the app soon, which we take to mean that eventually you'll have access to your full Instagram algorithm. Why now? After years of criticism that Meta and Instagram have not done enough to protect their users, especially teens, from harmful content, Instagram has been taking a far more aggressive approach to content control. Most of it has been on the side of parental controls. However, this is the first big step to truly putting control in the user's hands. Most people scratch their heads and wonder why certain things show up in their feeds while other topics do not. This may lift that veil of confusion, but also reveal how Instagram has been watching us. People's Reels feeds, people's Reels feeds should become far more curated and maybe end up feeling like safer spaces. I'm curious about how this might impact advertising since we all know how an in person conversation with a friend or relative about a potential trip to Paris almost immediately results in Paris videos in our feed.
That's
This
true.
is not alchemy. The friend has probably searched in Instagram or Facebook about Paris, and since you're connected, or your feeds is infected with Viva la France. Perhaps now you can go into your Algo Center and remove that Paris topic before the full blown feed infection. Instagram is likely also doing this to help bring people back to Instagram. There's some indication that Gen Alpha, the next target market, is leaving social media. Perhaps changes like this, real algorithm control, will help bring them back. This might also put some pressure on other social media companies like X, formerly Twitter, and especially TikTok, which is supposed to be soon US owned and controlled, to make their algorithms publicly accessible and curatable. Instagram says Reels algorithm control is rolling out across the US today and will roll out globally for English speaking markets soon. Check it out and let us know your thoughts. and wild algorithm discoveries in the comments below. So let's see what the wonderful people in the comments say. I love looking at the comments. Looks like there is no comments, so nobody cares. George, where you at?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it looks like there's no comments.
Oh no, the comments are there. Oh
I don't
no,
see
nothing
any.
new. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody cares. Nobody,
Ellie said,
nobody
haha,
cares.
I'm interested in the new algorithm. She's interested in the new
No, 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 no. I'm
algorithm.
talking about in the story, George.
Oh, in the
In the
story, yeah,
in the
there's nothing.
story, yeah,
Yeah.
there's no comments. Yeah,
Yeah,
nobody
nothing
said
that I
nothing.
saw. Yeah, let me take it out of reader view. Let me see if I see anything that way. Uh, nope, nothing at all. You're right. Not a one.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Okay. Well, maybe nobody's had a chance to check it
Ain't
out yet.
working.
I haven't had a chance to take a look at it really. So
You know what happened? A lot of people, I think, are getting out of social media because like now it's like an old people thing. Like their parents are on it. You know what I mean?
exactly,
Before it was like
exactly.
kind of the place for kids and teenagers to run away. Now they're like, "Well, my mom is on there. My
Yeah.
grandmom is on." Like,
ex-
you know.
Well, that's what happened with Facebook years ago. I remember
Yeah,
Facebook.
yeah. It turned into yeah. It turned
Turned
into like
into
you
the
can't
grandma and
escape.
grandpa thing. You know.
Yeah.
Okay, down to my last story. Uh, and we had posted about this a few months ago, and that the feds might try to stop states from putting laws on AI. Well, Trump has signed an executive order, so I just saw it yesterday. So let's go take a look. Trump executive order overrides states' AI laws. I found this on Axios. Now, I was trying to read it earlier on my phone. It wanted me to subscribe, but I think here we're okay. So, Trump signs executive order targeting state AI laws by Mackenzie Wagner and Maria Curie. So let's drop it into AI view, into reader view, and I think we'll be okay to read it. President Trump on Thursday signed an executive order to override state AI laws. I was hoping this wouldn't happen because I was very much against it, setting up high stakes clashes nationwide and inside his own party. Why it matters? Trump and his AI czar, David Sachs, are moving aggressively in favor of industry, so they're basically doing what all the big tech wants. To rein in state regulation of the technology. Yeah, they don't want states taking over. The EO aims to, executive order, aims to gut state AI laws by launching legal challenges and conditioning federal grants on compliance. So I guess if you, a state, and you come up with something they don't like, they're taking you to court. MAGA populists made a failed last minute bid to try to shape the executive order. So I guess they try to put a few something on it, but didn't work. Pitching two draft proposals to the White House this week. What they're saying, there's only going to be one winner here, and that's probably going to be the U.S. or China. And right now, we're winning by a lot, Trump said. Trump said people want to be in the United States and they want to do it here, but if they had to get 50 different approvals from 50 different states, you can forget it because that's not possible to do. But I still think each state should have the right to make their own laws, just me. Ellie said, another reason to get the heck out of New York. Looks like it passed here. Am I seeing that correctly? Well, he's done an executive order, but yeah, some states do already have some laws on some of the AI, which I think is needed, but Trump doesn't. So, Trump adds that he thinks this effort has great Republican support. I doubt it. And probably Democratic support too. White House Staff Secretary Will Sharp said the order sets up decisive action to ensure that AI can operate within a single national framework in this country as opposed to state level regulation that could cripple the industry. Ellie says, not a fan of intrusive global AI. I agree. What's inside? The executive order calls on government agencies to check the most onerous and excessive state laws. Who gets to decide which ones are onerous and excessive? In favor of a minimally burdensome, uniform national policy framework. The executive order tasked the Attorney General with establishing an AI litigation task force, so I guess so you can take the states to court, within 30 days to challenge state AI laws, including on grounds that such laws unconstitutionally regulate interstate commerce. How can it be unconstitutional when that didn't exist? Well, just my opinion. The Commerce Secretary will have to identify and evaluate existing state laws that conflict with the order. Those would include laws that require AI models to alter their truthful outputs. Interesting. Alter their truthful outputs. Or lead to the disclosure or reporting of information in a manner that would violate the First Amendment or any other provision of the Constitution. The Commerce Secretary will also have to issue a policy notice within 90 days outlining the eligibility conditions for states to receive remaining broadband equity. In other words, they're going to blackmail them. Access and deployment funding to expand internet access. So they're going to use internet access to blackmail into what they want to do. That's basically what that says. The executive order calls for the White House to prepare a legislative recommendation for Congress to establish a federal framework for AI that preempts state laws. The order tees up congressional action, saying the administration and Congress must work on a framework that forbids state laws that conflict with the executive order, ensures children are protected, censorship is prevented. Well, I think the government is providing censorship here. Copyright is respected and communities are safeguarded. Until such national standard exists, however, it is imperative that my administration takes action to check the most onerous and excessive laws, except they get to decide that, emerging from the states that threaten to stymie innovation to tech states. Yeah, this is all driven by all the big tech companies. You can count on that. Ex-Trump advisor Steve Bannon, a major MAGA voice, told Axios in a text message that David Sacks having face-planted twice on jamming AI amnesty into must-pass legislation now completely misleads the president on preemption. Catch up quick. The White House suffered a significant loss when Congress rejected including preemption language in the annual defense policy. They didn't let that language go into the defense policy bill, despite pressure from Trump, the White House, and the tech industry. So it's going to be interesting if they get Congress to agree on any of this stuff. It was the second major defeat this year in the administration's bid to reshape the AI policy landscape through Congress. Yeah, I think they're going to have a lot of trouble in Congress with this. Senators stripped a similar provision from the budget bill in a 99-1 vote. So I don't think the president's winning here, that's for sure. The White House first floated a version of this executive order targeting state AI laws in November after Trump publicly backed a ban. Some MAGA conservatives and Republican governors view the White House's approach as too broad, I agree, and a giveaway to AI companies, yeah, at the expense of states' rights. What's next? Expect legal challenges from states and Republican infighting. I'm thinking Republican and Democratic. Anyway, so Trump is trying to force it down their throats, and obviously there's going to be a continuing fight over this kind of stuff. So, Will, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I don't really care for that God.
I just don't think they're basically going to dictate what the policies are, which basically is going to put it in Silicon Valley, and they're going to decide everything for it, don't you think?
Yeah. Oh man, George, I don't know. One of these days we gotta have a show where it's just a open forum. There's so much news. And I don't
Yeah,
be
well,
on most of the time. We gotta wait for Mike to go on. All
Yeah,
four of
because
us got to
that
get on again,
yeah, that's what we did 2 weeks ago
or
with
three of
Mike.
us, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, LA saying, guys, that ain't right. We agree, but not a whole lot we can do about it. But I think this is going to be a long fight in Congress. That's for sure. So okay, so anything else new you want to tell us, Will, or anything else?
Nah, you just see all the people departing. Oh well, I'm back on the iPhone, George. I tried, George. I really did,
Yes, you
George. I
did.
gave it a whole month. I gave it a whole month
Oh, you did give it a
and
month. Okay,
couldn't do it. Yeah, I had it for more than a month. October 22nd.
so you did return it though, right?
Yeah, I couldn't do it, George. I can't. Oh, there's so many things.
Now,
There's so
now, which Pixel did you have?
the 10 Pro XL.
10 Pro. So that's what I thought. Okay. All right, but I said to Mike, he's going to return it, but I was proud of you for as long as you held on to it. So you are basically a dyed-in-the-wool iPhone user sounds like for the rest of your life. You agree?
Like it's looking that way. It really is. I think I put it in the group chat. Um, they need focus modes. They need it. They need it. Have you ever used it, George?
No.
Focus modes are amazing. So basically what it is profiles that you can make for whatever you want. Like, and the iPhone, well, didn't used to be like you could customize nothing. Well,
Right.
you could have like a focus mode for the weekend, focus mode for when you get to your job. So what it
Oh,
does
okay.
is each mode is basically profiles. Each focus mode can have a different home screen layout,
Okay.
different conditions, like these people can bother me or these people can't get through, and like it's wonderful.
So it's allowing you to compartmentalize your own customization.
Yeah, you can make it so like your watch face has a different home screen. Your
Okay.
email app only gets stuff from this node. Like it's it's customization, but like I didn't have that on the Pixel. I missed that.
Right.
The Pixel Watch is nice, but to me, the build of the face, it's too fragile. Like
You know what it is? It's that
it's not. I
rounded
can't say it's
top.
fragile because I didn't break it, but
Yeah.
I know I would have. If I had
Well,
it
I,
longer,
I
I would have.
Yeah, I have the Watch 2 and the Watch 3, and because of the way they're rounded at the top, I bang them often.
Yes,
I keep waiting
yes.
to crack one, but I haven't cracked one yet.
That's what
So
I'm thinking. I'm like, I'm gonna break this thing. That's what I keep.
exactly.
I'm like, if I keep this, I'm gonna take it to work and I'm gonna be doing something and I'm gonna look at it and the screen's gonna be broke.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And
Besides
like I
that, the
said,
watch is good. The
yeah,
battery life isn't as good as like the Apple Watch Ultra, but it's good.
right.
It gets me through a 16-hour day. Um,
Now my best watch is the one I'm wearing right now, which is my OnePlus Watch 3.
yeah, I heard that has a lot of battery, like
Yeah,
real good
this gonna
battery.
last me about 3 days straight. Not as long as as the watch Mike gave me, but it'll last about 3 days. Where my regular Series 10 with my Apple will only last about a day. Maybe it would make it to a day and a half, but that's I never use it for more than a day. You know.
Yeah, but yeah, like I miss my focus modes. It was hard for me to get away from iMessage. Even when I was on it, I didn't get away because I just kept my iPhone with me and I just used it on Wi-Fi, so I still had my iMessage because I
Yeah, yeah,
couldn't do it.
I
Couldn't
understand.
do it.
Yeah, see, almost every day when I have an Android phone, most days I carry my iPhone 17 with me, but there is an occasional day because of the eSIM where I'll have one of my Android phones and the Pixel 10 because that's eSIM also like the iPhone. So I'm not carrying two eSIM phones. You know.
Yeah, I can't even say that it's that the iMessage is so great because we do have RCS, but it's like
Exactly.
I didn't want to break my iMessage conversations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Because
understand. I understand.
when you have iMessage, you can edit. You can't do that on
RCS, yeah,
RCS.
yeah.
What else did I miss? Like I don't know. I just missed the CarPlay, to me, I like CarPlay more.
Yeah.
My
You're
earbuds work better with the iPhone because I
you're
wasn't gonna go buy
spoiled. You're
earbuds.
totally spoiled on
Mike got
Apple
me
juice.
earbuds, but they not the same. Like it's so many things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the
Understandable.
Pixel's good. The Pixel's good,
And
but
at least you always give it a chance. I got to give you that.
I
Yeah.
always do. I don't know why. I need to just stop giving it a chance, George.
No, no, no. I think you're one of the few iPhone people that I think is fair to Android. At least you give it a shot. And this time you really gave it a shot. So nobody can complain that you're not giving it a chance.
But I don't even know. Yeah, but you remember I was always Android first. I don't know.
Right. I
I
remember.
don't know. It's like now the Pixel's doing a lot of stuff, but now it's like I don't even care about it no more. Like now
Well,
you can.
the problem is after you became an iPhone user, iPhone actually started letting you do stuff to customize. So that kind of played right
Yeah,
played right to what you wanted.
and like now on the new, I think you got the update right. You can change the icon shapes on the Pixel now.
Yeah, yeah. Matter of fact,
You
there was an
can
update today for 26.2.
Magic Q for me. It never turned on at all. Like I never seen it work.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Um,
I've never used it.
some of the stuff never even like it never worked for me. Some of the AI stuff I played around with it, but it's not no thing that's gonna make me buy a phone.
Yeah, exactly. Same
And
here.
then
Same here. Although,
I get Google
I
Gemini on my iPhone.
yeah, I was going to say if I use AI at all on my phone, it's always Gemini because I find Gemini very good, especially now.
But maybe Siri will catch up and be a little better. Which I don't really
Yeah,
use Siri
yeah,
anyway, so I don't
I
care.
wouldn't hold my breath. Remember, they just hired a new guy last week, so
Well, Google, yeah, but everything that's done is already done. Google is going to be helping with Siri or whatever their
that
AI. So,
that's true. That's true. But I know I just have lost all faith in Apple ever getting Siri to work right with AI.
yeah,
And I
but
think
you know
I'm not
what?
alone.
But here's the thing, George. Do you think AI on your phone is going to be around for 20 years? I can't see
Yeah,
it lasting that long. I think it's going to be
I
like a fad. Like it's going to be a
no,
big thing for a little bit, and then
I
people aren't
see
going
it.
to care.
I see it lasting because like the stuff I use it for, for summaries and that kind of stuff, and even in your email, I can see,
Yeah, but
people.
sometimes that stuff's wrong. Like it tells you it tells you the wrong information, or
Well, yeah, and I don't find that so much with Gemini, but I gather uh, ChatGPT is wrong about a quarter of the time. So but
Yeah, I don't know.
so far, for the little bit that I use Gemini for, it's fine, but I don't know that I'll ever use it for more than that. And as far as advanced features, yeah, I don't think it'll ever catch on big time.
But that's why I don't think it's a big factor. Like people are still gonna just buy the iPhone, and you
I
know,
agree. I agree. But
because like the AI isn't making people buy the phone. Is what I'll say. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I agree. I agree.
It's not
But
like
Pixel
a
phones are
buying
selling
thing.
better than they ever have. That's for sure.
But they don't never give us no number. You know what I mean? They'll say we sold 10% more phones, but how many did y'all sell last year?
That's true. I think they have been numbers, but they most of the time they avoid giving us numbers. That's true. You know.
Yeah. But yeah, they're selling good because I see them. I mean, I don't know if they're selling or if,
Yeah.
Verizon is giving them away or.
Yeah, and I see lots of videos with people saying they see them more out in the wild now, where you didn't used to a year ago.
Yeah, I seen that story you did about Verizon. I
Yeah,
seen that online too. They were saying that Verizon is like giving away. They'll give you like 4 free iPhones, and that's what the guy was saying that they're doing really bad. That's why they're willing to eat the cost.
yeah.
Like there was
I
no
didn't know things were
trade
that
in,
bad
no
at
nothing. They'll
Verizon.
just give it to you.
Yeah, I didn't know
Yeah,
things were that bad at Verizon.
people are tired of paying.
Yeah, well,
Verizon is expensive.
Yeah, I've always said Verizon was the greediest of all of them, so I guess they're paying the price now. So
Yeah. And you can go get Visible for a quarter of the price with the same network. So
yeah, yeah, that makes perfect sense. So I just hope I can continue with T-Mobile, because they're forcing us all to use the T-Life app, and as long as I can function on a day-to-day basis, and I don't have to go to the store to have some
what
real
you mean you gotta use
interaction.
the app for what?
T-Mobile is pushing everybody to use the app exclusively, and as a matter of fact, if
Oh,
you
so they're
go in
firing
the
people.
huh?
I said so they must be laying people off then if they want less.
Well, here's the funny thing: I keep seeing videos with employees say when people come into the store, T-Mobile tries to force them to get the customers to use the T-Life app and not help them on purpose. So
So what
it's
about when you're buying the phone?
I have no idea because I always buy my phones online. I haven't been in the store in about 2 years, so I'm not sure. But I keep seeing things that
It
say,
really went downhill.
yeah, well, they just want to force everyone to on these apps, and they don't want any human interaction, so they don't have to pay anybody.
Wow. Wow.
Philly Jersey Jeff said, yeah, he had to use his app when he got his Z Fold 7 last week. Okay. Ellie, thanks for being here. Glad you came with us. Anyway, and we hope you get that Commodore 64 and tell us all about it. Yeah, Philly Jazzy Jeff said, yeah, he had to use the app, the T Life app, when he got his Z Fold. So they're pushing people away from the store. So you're probably right. They must be laying employees off.
Yeah.
It's very sad. I would think it's not going to change unless customers, really come back at them big time and won't buy stuff unless they have a person to talk to. Then that's the only way it's going to turn around, I would think.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really like going to the store anyway, but still, I mean, making people use the app is kind of.
Yeah, I agree. That's the thing. I don't mind using the app for little simple things, but I'm sure there's going to come a time when I'll need to go to the store and talk to somebody.
That's the opposite of Apple's approach because you go to Apple store, they're all over you.
Well, that's better. That's better than what the others are doing. So
Yeah.
okay, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, this is going to be ongoing. So I guess Verizon's just going to keep laying people off. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Can you imagine if Verizon ends up going under? Wow.
I don't know that they would. I would think that if their customers are that unhappy, they would start bringing people back rather than go under. Wouldn't you think?
I don't know. We've seen stranger things, George.
Oh, that's true. See, I worked for what was Verizon used to be called? Before they were called Verizon, that's when I worked for them in Tampa for about a year and a half. I'm trying to remember what they used to be called back then, but I can't remember. I was because I
They
was a
were a lot. They were
contractor.
Verizon. They were something Bell. What was they before?
No, it
Yeah,
was
they
it
were a
started with
lot.
a G. I can't even remember what it was. But of course, this was back in 98, 99.
I can't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah.
But I know when I had Verizon and I had Verizon for a long time. They were Verizon. What were they before Verizon? You have to make me Google it. Hey, I can't remember.
Okay. Philly Jazz Jeff says only reason I go to the store is because I drive right down to Delaware, so I don't have to pay tax. Well, that makes sense. So he must live near you guys. So he must
Okay,
live.
yeah,
He,
you
he
don't want
must
to pay
live in Philly.
taxes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was Bell Atlantic. It was GTE. That was when they merged.
GTE.
They were Bell Atlantic
That's
before
who
they
I worked.
merged.
I worked for GTE. Yeah.
Ah,
I did
okay.
a contract with them for about a year and a half. A matter of fact, I was driving from Orlando to Tampa every day, and that was about an 80-mile drive. But of course, I got used to that. You know.
You know what? I don't think they ever that was like outright their name ever. Like they went from Bell Atlantic as far as
Right.
like out like what they what they showed. It went
Right.
from Bell Atlantic to Verizon. They never said GTE. You know what I mean?
But in Tampa, all the bills went out as GTE because I worked on billing. You know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But then they became Verizon, I guess, after about 2 years after I left that contract. So anyway,
But yeah, we got to
so
get
and
together again, George, before the end of the year.
that'd be great with me. Let Mike know. So
All
are
right.
you getting anything new tech wise that you know about?
Nah,
Okay.
no.
I I did order that Moto phone last night. So yeah, the cheap one,
Oh,
the
okay, the
regular
one Mike
Moto
was
G.
talking about.
The Moto G that just came out yesterday.
Yeah, the one Mike was talking about.
Exactly, yeah. Because I traded in my Moto G Power from 2023. I didn't get much for it, but I figured if I'm going to have, I like motor phones like Mike. I figure if
Yeah.
I'm going to have a motor phone, let me get a newer one. And yes, this is only a cheap one. It's 299 bucks, but the supposedly the cameras are going to be better because of the AI, and that's what kind of fascinated me. I wanted to see. Let's see how much better the cameras are. So I guess I'll find out by next week
They're
sometime.
getting out of hand with this AI. You can't even tell what a photo is anymore. You see
Yeah,
now
and that
Google is like putting a thing at the bottom so you can see when it was edited with Gemini.
that's a good idea because yeah, it's hard to tell sometimes. You can't even tell sometimes. But I think
Yeah.
that's one place where the AI will stay around because in their back end editing using the AI, well, see, that stuff does work, and there's no reason why that shouldn't stay around. You agree?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess. Some ways, like the way the Pixel does it with the zoom, I don't know
Yeah.
if I really like that. Instead of just getting better camera hardware, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Well, they're going to do everything in
Because then
software
it's
if they can.
but then it's like you're making up, you know what I mean? You don't even know if that was really on the photo.
Exactly. That's the thing. You never know if it was the real results or is it the results that they did through software. That's the thing.
Yeah. Like you'll take a picture and then they say the print, this might not really be what was there. It just tries to imagine.
Well, plus the fact that these days they're always going to give you like six or seven options and give you the best option of the bunch, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, but I guess generally people generally are going to be more pleased if they have a better looking picture. You and I are just techies. That's the problem. You know,
Yeah.
the average person isn't like that.
I don't even know if I'm a techie anymore.
I I
I
would
think
say
Apple
you. I
Tim
would
Cook took away my techie. Right at
No,
this
I'd say
point,
you're
at
still a
this point,
techie because
George,
you still use the iPhone for things that I don't, and certainly the average person doesn't. So I think you're still a techie. You're just more of an Apple techie.
at this point, yeah, because Apple does everything that the iPhone can. I mean, that Android can do.
Yeah, exactly.
They just do it smoother. But at this point, I'm waiting for the iPhone Fold Maximum Flip or whatever they call it.
Yeah, can you imagine what it's going to cost, though? Come on
I
now.
can't. I really can't.
I'm thinking it's
But
got to be
if they
about three
make it,
thousand. I'm thinking
if
three
they
thousand
make
or
it with
more.
no crease, that's what they're saying. That there's not going to
That's
be
what
no
they're saying.
crease.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, it's going to be tempting. And I'm not even big on foldables, but
Well, I'm going to let you spend the money and tell me about it.
yeah, that'll be something.
Yeah, everybody's excited about that, and so am I. I just don't see myself spending the kind of money that Apple's going to want for it.
You got enough phones. Trade in a couple of those phones. You got 17, 18 of them.
Well, that's true. You know what? I was going through stuff the other night, and I still have phones from when I was at CES with Ted back in 2018 and stuff. I still have phones in
See?
boxes from back in those days, but I certainly couldn't get anything for them these days.
Yeah. They probably don't even connect to the network anymore.
Oh, they'll still work, but I'm thinking I ought to pull one out and say, okay, 6 years after 6 years, let's see how we do. Use it for
See
a
if
day
it
or two.
works. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
You
probably
still
do
have the
that
regular
soon.
Pixel? Go pull out the regular Pixel and see if you can use it in 2025.
I don't have a Pixel that old, but I have some. What do I have? Oh, some. I have a couple of Huawei phones from back then. I'll bet you they still work.
Okay. You see that Samsung trifold, right?
Yeah, yeah. Again, that's what is that? That's right around $3,000, isn't it?
I think it was it 2,500, something like that.
Okay, yeah, that's more than I'm willing to pay. I'll tell you that.
You know who I miss though? I miss being able to get Jerry's take on all this stuff. I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree.
'Cause he was cool.
Yep. Anyway, so how did we get so blessed tonight to have you for the whole
Well,
broadcast?
I'm off, so I didn't work tonight. Next Friday I gotta work.
Okay. All
But
right.
I
So
ended up
just
being, yeah, I took off.
so listen, see if you can get Mike so we can get together to have one before the end of the year.
All right. I'll see.
And if you want to host one, you haven't hosted one in a long, long time.
The problem, let me see. It would have to be on the 20, what is that, the 26th? Because this is the 19th coming up in our work.
Right.
I'll see if Mike's available.
Yeah, I could do it. Yeah, 26 would be good. But yeah, if you were willing to host it, that would be great too. So
All
just
right.
just
I'll
keep
see what I
just
can
keep
do.
me appraised and let me know what you guys think.
All right. Okay.
All right, glad you were here, brother.
All right, George.
All right, love to you, and
Yeah.
hopefully we'll talk to you. And I'll try to
Yeah, I'll
keep
be,
up with.
and keep up with the group chat, George.
Yeah, I'm trying to. All right, take
All
care,
right.
brother.
All right,
All
George.
right,
Yeah.
folks, we're going to go. Glad you're all here. I hope everybody has a blessed weekend, and I hope you have a very blessed week. And let's remember, we all do better when we love each other. So, of course, I'm going to leave you with, come on, people now, smile on your
Oh,
brother.
God.
Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Good night, folks.